In this video, I'm going to explain weight loss injections to you like you are 5.
Why don't you explain this to me like I'm 5?
There are many people talking about them online, usually in absolutist black and white terms, and I want to explain them to you simply and with nuance so you can actually understand the truth about weight loss injections. Now, before we dive into it, it's important to clarify, you can be both pro sleep, exercise, diet, nutrition, lifestyle habits, and also pro weight loss injections for those who need it at the same time. This is not a zero-sum game. It's not like you have to be either one or the other. I think every logical, rational person understands focusing on sleep, exercise, nutrition, and lifestyle is important for literally everybody. And for some people, weight loss injections can also be very helpful and important. Now, to understand how weight loss injections work, I want you to imagine you're driving a car. If this car works really well, all you have to worry about is getting from point A to point B. That's it. You don't have to worry about any issues with the car. But if your car has issues, for example, let's say your car has a leaky fuel tank. Now you've got a problem because as soon as you fill that fuel tank up, you are worried about how much time you have left before you have to fill it up again. And this is constant, all the time. It's not just as the fuel tank gets empty, but all day, every day, the entire time you're driving, you're worried how much is leaking out, how much time do I have left, and you end up having to refill more frequently because you have a leaky fuel tank. Someone who could really benefit from weight loss injections has a leaky gas tank. And what I mean by that is they get way more hungry on a way more frequent basis than a normal person does. And the way I want you to think about this is there's something called a GLP-1. I'm not gonna go deep into the science, but GLP-1, I'm sure you've heard the term, stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. This is naturally made in your body. And some people, someone who has a normal, healthy working system, when their GLP-1s are released, they're released in sufficient quantity and their body recognizes them. But if your body doesn't release them in sufficient quantity and or doesn't recognize them as well, then you're going to have a leaky gas tank and you're going to be way more hungry on a way more regular basis. This has nothing to do with laziness. This has nothing to do with not trying hard. This has everything to do with your physiology. And if you are not producing enough GLP-1 or if you're GLP-1 resistant, then having these weight loss injections can help you plug up your leaky gas tank. Now, to keep going with this car example, like we said earlier, if you're driving a car that works well, you don't really think about it. But if your car has issues, whether it's a leaky gas tank or something wrong with the engine, you're often thinking about it the entire day, not even just when you're driving it. Absolutely, while you're driving, you're worried, is the car gonna break down? Am I gonna get a flat tire? Am I gonna be able to make it to the end point? But also, once you park, go into work, maybe at work you're worrying like, oh my God, am I gonna be able to make it home? How much money am I gonna have to spend to fix this up? When you have an issue with your car, you're thinking about it all the time. And people who struggle with GLP-1s, people who might benefit from weight loss injections, they're often thinking about food way more than the normal average person. And this is why I get really upset when people say you just need to eat less and move more, or you just need to work harder or try harder or stop being lazy. Believe me when I tell you, I've coached thousands and thousands of people. The vast majority of people, it has nothing to do with not trying hard. It has nothing to do with being lazy. Oftentimes it has to do with an actual physiological setback that they are dealing with that you can't see and you have no idea that they're struggling with. I've used this example before and I'll use it again. Imagine if you struggle with finances. Maybe you don't make as much money as you would like. Maybe money isn't something that you have a plethora of or you have an abundance of. If you're really struggling with money, you will think about it very frequently, at least far more frequently than someone who doesn't struggle with money. It's normal. If you don't make as much and if your expenses are higher, now all of a sudden, every single thing you buy, every single purchase plays a much bigger role in your head. Every time you've got to pay a bill, every time you've got to go to the store, you're thinking about money. Imagine if I said to you, just make more and spend less. It's that simple. It's that easy. You would rightfully be pissed because it is as simple, make more, spend less, but that's not necessarily easy. And just because you try really hard to make more and spend less doesn't mean it's going to happen, especially not in the immediate future. This is often how people with GLP-1 issues are treated. Just work harder. Just eat less and move more. It's not as easy as that. And yes, they should and still do absolutely focus on exercise, sleep, nutrition, lifestyle and interventions, all of that. GLP-1s, weight loss injections are not a panacea, they're not a fix-all, but to demonize them is doing more harm than good, and this is why we need a more well-rounded view. I also think there's an interesting double standard here because no one bats an eyelash when a diabetic needs to inject insulin. It's more or less common knowledge that Someone who's a diabetic needs to inject insulin because that's what their body needs. Maybe they don't produce enough of it, maybe their body doesn't recognize it well, maybe a combination of the two. Either way, when a diabetic injects insulin, not a big deal, that's what they have to do. But for some reason, when people are discussing weight loss injections, now all of a sudden it's cheating. Now all of a sudden it's demonized, when the reality is for someone who could really benefit from them, their body might not make enough GLP-1. Their body might be GLP-1 resistant. There's no difference here. It's an actual physiological need that could seriously help that person, and looking down on them and saying that it's cheating not only is incorrect, but it's downright wrong and doing more harm than good. The fact of the matter is this: obesity increases the risk of over 200 health conditions, not least of which include the two leading causes of death, cancer and heart disease. I'm not saying GLP-1s are perfect, I'm not saying they're a panacea, and I'm definitely not saying everyone needs to or should be taking them. I'm actually going to talk about some of the negative side effects in a second. But what I am saying is there are some people who can absolutely benefit from using them, and blanketly demonizing them is not helping anyone, nor is it spreading the truth. Now, like I said at the beginning, there's a nuanced view to this. It's not black and white, it's not absolutist, it's not all good, it's not all bad, but there is definitely some bad things and some negative side effects to be aware of. The truth is about 50% of people who get weight loss injections will have some type of a mild side effect like nausea or vomiting or diarrhea or constipation. And frankly, I know a lot of people classify those as mild, but I don't personally consider vomiting or nausea or diarrhea as mild, especially if this is 50% of people could be having them. And there are some more rare side effects as well, including pancreatitis, gallstones, abdominal pain. We don't really know the long-term side effects of weight loss injections yet. We don't have studies showing 30, 50, 70 years down the road. So the unfortunate truth is there are some very real, very plausible negative side effects associated with weight loss injections that you need to decide, and between you and your doctor, if this is a good fit for you or not. The way I look at it is, if you are someone who is severely overweight, potentially a type 2 diabetic, and you and your doctor have this conversation, you are essentially weighing the cost between being severely overweight, type 2 diabetic, and the potential side effects from weight loss injections. It's really not a fun choice to have, but this is what you have, and this is what you need to make your decision with right now. So in my opinion, the only people who should be taking weight loss injections are people who have a serious physiological need and who discuss it with their primary care physician or their doctor. If you are thinking about taking this, or if you're taking this purely from an aesthetic perspective, you want to lose 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds just so you can look and feel more confident in a swimsuit, you are fucking up. That is not what these are for, and I do not think the potential side effects are worth the results that you could potentially get. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, yeah, but I want to lose 10, 15, 20 pounds, and every time I try and lose weight, I get hungry. Yeah, hunger is normal when you're trying to lose weight. Hunger is normal when you're in a calorie deficit. There's a difference between normal hunger and excessive hunger, and especially excessive hunger that someone is experiencing even when they shouldn't be hungry, which is what someone who is a potentially good fit for GLP-1s experiences. But when you're eating in a calorie deficit, trying to lose 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds, you're going to be hungry. And yes, you want to fill up on fruits and vegetables and proteins, you want to get adequate sleep, you want to hydrate, you want to walk, but a little bit of hunger is normal. You might also be trying to reduce your calories too much. If you want me to tell you how many calories you should eat in order to lose fat sustainably, I have a free calorie calculator you can use. The link is in the description of this video. With all of that said, I hope this video has given you a little bit more insight into what weight loss injections are, who they're for, who they're not for, and how they work. Most importantly, I want you to have the nuance. I want you to understand it's not black and white. It's not right or wrong. It's not absolute. For some people, they could be a really great option. For other people, they make absolutely no sense. There are only two things that we know for sure. Number one, every single person should be focused on their exercise, their sleep, their nutrition, and their overall lifestyle and behavior habits. Number two, if you're considering a weight loss injection, it is between you and your doctor to decide if it's a good fit or not. Before I sign off, if you or someone you know has had experience with weight loss injections, be them positive or negative, I would love to hear your thoughts and stories down below. So please let me know if they've been good for you or someone you know, if they've been bad for you or someone you know. Either way, I just want to know what your thoughts and experiences with weight loss injections are. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon.